me in my heart. When I did leave the church, I never left my father. Because I was reading my word every day. You know, I never left him. And I just thank him for it.
That's right.
You know, he took me out of the church, but I never left him.
All praise.
Never.
And we've been bought with a price. I give praise every single day.
That's
We've
right.
been bought with a price. You know, and the thing is, we did nothing to receive that. You know, because it's through the Most High. He said that I'm making this promise unto Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And for us to be their descendants is just a gift.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What is the source on the 12 tribes?
What do you mean?
As they're identifying different countries? Because I've heard it before and I didn't know where it was derived.
It's derived from several different scriptures in the Word, and then some of it's also just through history.
So secular and biblical?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because if you look at some of the cartography of the Western Africa, they're in the Serengeti, in 1508 you have something called the Negro Land map, which is modern day Judaism would call the Taharian Yehuda, which basically means the land of the Jews. So in 1508 and in the times of like the 1600s, the western coast of Africa was called the land of the Jews. And that was because they knew after the cascading of what happened in 70 AD, they migrated into Western Africa. You know, instantiating places like Hippo and Carthage. If you ever heard of Hippo and Carthage, people who canonized a lot of the Bible. Central Africa, and then ultimately into the Western Africa. Because today you can still see Hebraicism being practiced in the Western Africa today. So even a lot of rabbinical rabbis like Dr. Henry Averson, you ever heard of him before?
I haven't.
Or Dr. Michael Brown? So those are profound PhD scholars who also can attest that that the African American who came from the Western Shores are actually like Israelites because of the Hebraicisms that were being kept.
Right, because in Ethiopia, they can genetically trace back to Judaism.
That's where you get the Coptic Jews.
Right.
So I would say some of them are natural-born Jews, but then also you have to bear in mind that a lot of converting was also happening to the Jewish religion.
Right. Yeah.
So mostly the 12 tribes is pinpointing the Western Hemisphere.
Right.
We do know that Israelites are scattered into every nation. That's what the Synoptic Gospel say. It says you'll be scattered into all nations.
Right.
So the 12 tribes chart in particular is just depicting the Western Hemisphere.
Right. Yeah. I just never seen it just broken down to such regions. Because some will have it UK, USA. But this is kind of cool.
He's talking about the British. I know he's talking about those guys over there in the UK. How they're saying that they were Israelites as well. And they were divvying up.
I've seen those tribe charts of when it's like the European nations, right?
Exactly. Break it down into the
It's
European
just
nation
different
only. And it's
European
like,
nations. But we know that the European nations, they're actually the beast, the one that the horse sitteth upon, where she gets her power from. Are you familiar with the Book of Daniel?
somewhat.
You could
Because the statue right here.
Oh, I was gonna go to chapter 7.
Because the statue is depicting that at the bottom of the feet is the Roman Empire.
Right.
But now what they call the European Union is the revised Roman Empire. You know what I'm saying? And the beast that's spoken about in the book of Revelation says that she's going to be sitting upon all nations, ruling over all nations. And what greater country that we can look at now, which rules everybody? We're just going to be real. It's America. They have an embassy everywhere. They back a lot of the...
Not for long.
Not for long. Right, that's right. So they back a lot of these countries with military might, with economic strength, and even like financial, to topple these countries. Because the way that America does things is very like serpentine. They go in there and they manipulate the lowly and the meek of those lands to go against the higher ups. And that's how they overturn it. This is how you have Red Cross. This is how you have these different people and companies that will go in and do that to the low people to make them turn on the higher ups. So America sends psyops and the CIA is to do that.
Oh yeah.
So like when we read the Bible and put it within its proper hermeneutics and the proper timeline, we can see that America is that final beast that has to be taken down. Just go beyond. You had something?
Yeah, I was gonna get into the scriptures a little bit because just so we're clear on that.
Right.
But we can get into it to the horns and whatnot. I'm reading from verse 7, chapter 7, verse 7. After this I saw in the night vision, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth, It devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. And we know America is a diverse nation, right? And then it's also it had 10 horns. So let's keep going to see what's going to happen. Verse 8, I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots, and behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. So there is 3 horns plucked up. What 3 nations were plucked up from his place, and then another nation came? It was France, Spain, and the UK. And then out of that, from this where we see now, America is here now. And
then also the 10 horns are representing the 10 common markets of Europe.
Right.
Where's
Great
it say?
insight. Thank you for your time. I got
Yeah.
people waiting.
All right, for sure, sir.
Take care.
You have a good one.
What is that? Just chart.
It's another chart. I just got it in a wood form so we can have another stick, because it's about 2 sticks. So, and very poetically, I use my skateboard as another stick because there's 2 speckled birds on it.
So, yeah, and then and that's just what Daniel 7 is really talking about, because it's also in Revelations 2. This is how we make everything, bring it all together. So this is the book of Revelation, chapter 17 and verse 3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations, and her filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was the name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. So the 10 horns that's talking about in Daniel is also, that's what John the Revelator is also depicting. He saw 10 horns, the beast that's sitting upon that power that's coming from the European Union.
Now the horns, that's the king?
Yeah, the horns are the kingdoms. So they're the 10 common markets of EU. Right. Because
that stuff get me confused, kind of the Revelations.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm still learning all
Revelations is very heavily metaphorical. But what the grandiose thing to take from it is America is going to be turned on again. The horns are going to turn against America.
That's what's going on now.
Yup, because you see Trump trying to disassemble himself away from the EU right now. He's trying to say that we're not giving any more money to Ukraine. He's trying to make the EU give more money to Ukraine, because he's like, hey, you guys are in that part of the world. You deal with Russia how you want to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? That's why you see a lot of the news saying
he's trying to chicken out, but
he's trying to chicken out. But
But
also you gotta, this is God also putting the spirit, like, hey, the Bible say God ruleth in the heart of the king, so he's utilizing these kings to make his agenda go forward.
That's right.
That's right.
You
got
got
Trump in there for a reason.
I would love to hear your spiel on it.
Hey, you a Christian at all?
Yes, sir.
Well, you know what denomination?
I'm evangelical preacher.
All evangelical. What are they? You said evangelical what?
Free Church of America.
Free Church of America. I've never heard of that.
You know Blackhawk downtown? You know Blackhawk?
Oh yeah.
That's
Okay. So you guys go out and evangelize at all?
Yeah, a little bit. Like, I'm still obviously like, I was just curious honestly what you guys had to say. Like, so what's your? I would love to hear that Trump thing again, honestly. So totally. But yeah, like obviously, I mean, I believe that this is. And I believe that Jesus is the light.
So basically, the book of Revelation is pinpointing 2 main events happening: the return of Christ and the destruction of Mystery Babylon. And when you read about Mystery Babylon, it's coined with her destruction is the onslaught of the coming of the Messiah, because it says that the stone is going to bash the feet, and we know that stone made without hands is the Mashiach Yahweh. So Mystery Babylon in particular, we have to know who where these things are, you know, because it can't be in the land, because no one in the Middle East is ruling the earth right now.
That's right.
And according to the biblical timeline, the main country that's ruling the earth and ruling it with an iron rod is America. We're just gonna be honest. They back a lot of the countries with their military might. This is why you see a lot of people. Yup, the hammer. This is why you see a lot of people in the news saying that why is America helping so much in the Middle East when we have no military gain or anything to gain from that place over there? They're doing that because, first of all, they're a Judeo-Christian society. America believes that if they help Israel, that they'll be blessed. That's Genesis 12 and 15. You ever heard of that? Where it says, if you bless the children of Abraham, you'll be blessed. If you curse the children of Abraham, you'll be cursed, right?
Yeah.
So America believes that wholeheartedly. That's why they back it.
What I would say to that is,
Some of them know the truth.
Yeah, the higher ups know.
when Paul talks about, he talks about how because of the turn of Jesus, obviously that goes away. The blessing of Abraham now goes on to the people that choose Jesus. I'd have to look at the specific verse, but I just read about it. So that that was what I would say to that. 'Cause I honestly, my opinion is that the Jews, obviously they do have some blessing from God, but I feel like that went away once they also. I feel like that went away when they didn't accept Christ. You know, obviously he's the new covenant and the fulfillment of the covenant. Yeah, I don't.
So I got a question. So who would you say was underneath the first covenant? Like the Mosaic covenant? Okay, so when we read chapters like the book of Matthew, chapter 1 and verse 21, where he says, he will come and save his people. Right? Because he was an Israelite, he was a Jew, right? So the first chapter of the Synoptic Gospels literally say that Christ is coming to save his people. That's
Yeah. I mean, but also Paul talks about how the gospel is all people, right? I think that's, he includes the whole swath. And he also says, Romans 1:16, this is the Jew at that time. So I don't see that much separation there. Obviously, Jews have the responsibility of having the law, and then they also will face more punishment. It says that they're going to face more condemnation.
We got two Bible verses for you. So get Galatians 4 and 4.
Okay. This is the book of Galatians, chapter 4, reading from verse 4. But when the fullness of the time was come, God sent forth his Son, made of a woman, made under the law.
So that's talking about Christ, right?
To redeem them that were under the law, that we might receive the adoptions of sons.
So right here, Paul is saying in the book of Galatians, he's saying Christ came to redeem them that were under the law, that they may receive the adoption of sons.
Yeah. And obviously they have a choice to
here we don't have
make that.
we can't count
or
it.
not. I mean, that's my own personal. I think, do you think it's important for America to help Israel right now, in the Palestinian? Is that your opinion? Because they are God's people. Would you say that is true?
Well, I would say, and can you get Romans 4 and 1? Mm-hmm. I would say to that per se, do I believe that them having some tertiary effect on having kids being killed and being mauled and people being trampled over, I do not, me as a man, I don't think that that's beneficial at all. I also will say that the higher ups even of America know that the Yehudim and the people of the contemporary Yehudim are not the Jews.
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
Yeah, so I believe in that part that and nowadays that's demonized if you were to come out and say that. Like you can lose platforms, you can lose your job because they'll just staple you with anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
But that's not fair because if I'm saying I'm a Shemite, how can I be anti-Semitic towards myself if I'm saying I also descend from Shem? And a lot of people descend from Shem. And guess what? A lot of those Abrahams descend from Shem because those are Abraham's grandchildren. So to say that you're anti-Semite, you also have to be anti-Semitic to them as well, which America doesn't like pinpoint. They just place it on the other piece. I got another Bible verse for you. So just before we got Romans 4:1.
Yes, I
so
do.
you believe the people that Paul was writing to in the Roman period, that those were natural born Romans?
And now I understand.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously he preached in synagogues, right? So, like that was.
Well, this
verbatim.
epistle in particular, is he talking to Romans? Like,
In Galatians.
no, Romans.
Oh,
Romans.
Romans. No.
When you reference Romans 1 and 16,
Yeah.
is he
Yeah,
saying
right.
Gentile
That's a
in
good
the?
point.
Is he
Yeah.
saying Gentile in the state of a non-Jew?
Yeah, I mean that's.
Because the
Yeah.
word Gentile, all that means is a nation. Because it derives from the Hebrew word goyim. You ever heard of that before?
No.
So goyim is the Hebrew equivalent to the Greek word ethne, which is where Gentile comes from, right? Ethnos or whatever. So, and guess what? Israelites are called goy, non-Israelites are called goy. So using that word, it takes on a contextual bringing. Like if you were to go into your house, like for instance, if you were to go into your house and you bought pizza for like your family, right? And like, hey, all you guys can come get a slice of pizza. Are you talking to your next door neighbors and the people down the house is screaming? If you were to be like, all you guys can get some pizza here in your crib. So the word all takes on a context, just like the word Gentile takes on a context as well. You know, it depends on how it's written. But I'm going to read to you this Bible verse. Get Romans 4 and 1.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 4, reading from verse 1. What shall we say then? That Abraham our father, as pertaining to the flesh, hath found.
So right here, Paul is saying that the Romans go back to Abraham pertaining onto the flesh. So when he's writing this epistle to the Romans, not everybody goes back to Abraham according to the flesh, right? Because one of the main instantiations of Protestant Christianity is saying that you're Abraham's heir through faith. But Paul right here is saying you're Abraham's heir through the flesh. Separated the two. So there's some sort of contextual thing that's going on. Because what Paul was battling at the time in Galatia, he was battling the fact that Israelites, the Jews and Jewry at that time, they were disannulling faith. They were disannulling the faith on Christ. And Paul was trying to make them understand that if you're keeping the law and you're saying you're heirs of Abraham, then you should also have the faith of Christ. Because Christ said, if you believed in Moses, you would have believed in me, in the prophets. So the Pharisees were disannulling them. And that's what Paul was heavily combating, was to bring them into the fold of having that faith. Because that was something that they weren't getting down. And they were saying works overall. They were saying works, we don't care. We're going to be saved by our works. But little do they know, Christ was the culmination of the law. So they had to believe on Christ as well. Because if you don't believe on Christ, you're not keeping the law. Christ is Deuteronomy 18, Numbers 24, Genesis 49.